Hey guys and girls, Board now back with you on this video, and happy October once again. This is going to be my latest horror review, so this time more of a horror comedy, and it's actually a film that came out last year on Netflix. It's a Netflix original and it's a co-production with Adam Sandler's own company. So yeah, Hubie plays a very typically Sandler character, Hubie Dubois. Of course it rhymes, and he is, let's say, a mentally challenged local guy, lives at home with his mum, and he's basically, because the whole thing is set in Winston-Salem, because of course it is, and he plays the local sort of oddball slash freak who everyone makes fun of in the town. They play pranks on him throughout the film. The only person who actually seems to like him and doesn't play pranks on him, apart from his mother, is a character called Violet, played by Julie Boland, and who actually seems to like him. He has a crush on her. No spoilers, but there's a good chance they might actually get together by the end of the film. And one or two of the kids as well. But by and large, everyone makes fun of him. They take the piss out of him. They pull pranks on him. And you kind of get this sort of gag where at the start of the film, he's like on his bike going down the town and everyone's throwing stuff at him, making fun of him. And then later on in the film, that's maybe gonna change, let's say, because they return to that sort of scene at the end of the film, and the whole plot is then some maniac dressed up in a Halloween costume is going around killing people, and Sandler as Beauvoir actually has to become the hero. He has to try and save the town. So that's the basic setup. And do you know what? There's no point getting mad about this film or like shouting and screaming about it. At the end of the day, if you like Adam Sandler, if you find his brand of comedy just hilarious, you're gonna enjoy this. But on the other hand, if you find him really creepy and obnoxious and just annoying, like I do, then you're not going to like this. It is not the worst thing in the world ever. I could watch it perfectly easily, but really I'm not on board with Sandler and his sense of humour. And as I said, I found the character really annoying and obnoxious. He was creepy rather than endearing, which I think is what they were going for. And the whole thing about him just pulling these gurning faces and making noises, because really that's all the character is a bunch of noises, a lot of sort of like mumbling, unsettling rather than actually endearing. And the whole set of jokes are recycled, really, jokes from like kind of 80s 90s sort of humour. It's a very lazy film when it comes to the humour, so you get like a recurring gag about his mother and her t-shirts, basically the sort of naivety of her. So for example, one has boner donor on it, and she doesn't understand that, he doesn't understand that, and it's all very weak, all very lame. A bunch of his, real life friends like Steve Buscemi and Kevin James all somehow, and there's a bunch of teenage characters as well, because the character of Violet, who he has the crush on, she has like adopts kids, and they're in danger at one point. Bag of like modern kind of gags, like at one point there's a gag where everyone's dressing up as Harley Quinn for Halloween, just because that's like a very 2020 thing to do. And the other thing is, who is this film aimed at? I had no idea really, because on the one hand you get a bunch of gags that seem to be aimed at like 40 or 50-year-olds, the sort of age that Sandler is. At one point there's a Burt Reynolds reference, and some like classic monster movie type reference that you wouldn't get really unless you were maybe that sort of age. On the other hand, it seems to be going for a more family friendly type vibe, but then that doesn't really chime with like the gross out type humour. And then there seemed to be stuff where they were aiming for a kid sort of audience, but none of it quite sort of gels. There's actually a couple of nice scenes with like a couple of the teenage characters. I thought they were quite sort of charming, and some decent performances from those actors, but that's sort of the problem for me. I think if they'd focused on the teenage characters, if they'd actually made it into like a teenage like horror movie but had some decent gags in it, then it could have been very sort of passable. But instead, Adam Sandler just killed it stone dead for me, because I don't find him funny at all. And yeah, he is what ruined it. He didn't need to be in this movie, but there you have it. That's Hubie Halloween. Thanks for listening. Look out for more horror movie reviews this October. Like and subscribe. Share me out on social media. And I'll see you guys again soon. Goodbye.